So, Jim, how do we describe our guest today? I'll let you do this.
Well, putting me on the spot. Our guest today is the one and only Wing Commander Nash, who is racking up a fantastic win-loss record in True Grit at the moment, which is where I first heard about. Actually, his reputation precedes him. So I went to my first True Grit show with a friend, and you were literally the only thing she could talk about, and I got filled in on like the entire backstory of all the feuds you'd been in and everything. So, so I was really excited to see this legendary Wing Commander Nash, and when we got there, it didn't disappoint. So,
I think you say when you got there, I went on the show.
How's that for an intro?
I didn't realize I was so credit worthy. I must be doing something right for people to want to inform you on my habits and activities and skills and how I should be like signed on every major company going just purely off this True Grit alone run itself.
Of course. So, of course, we're talking to Wing Commander Nash. We've got loads of stuff to talk about. So, but first, intern, roll the intro. Now, you said before we came on the air, you've been in your little man cave since 7:30 this morning. Just tell everybody about that.
I have from 7:30. I'm at the undisclosed location, and I've been a busy boy today. Man, old person. I've just been very busy. I had a bit of freedom at lunchtime, snuck out, and then I had to come back in, and then snuck out again around the time everybody finishes work. And then, being the grown up that I am, I did some dishes and snuck back in here. Seems to be my running theme where I finish a day of whatever activity is doing. If I'm not wrestling or going to the gym in the evening, nobody wants to do that. You want to go in the morning when it's dead. Yeah, I had the pleasure of doing the dishes again because anybody think in my house I had like 35 people when you only need to use one pan to cook everything. So yeah, it's been a cabin fever would probably strike it or shed insanity. Call it what you want. It's my little happy escape place.
We're obviously on Thursday. So, how's the week been for you, my friend?
Good, very good. I bought a website domain. Next stop, billionaire. Mustache, things to do. It's currently a work in progress, so I bought that. My diet has been on point after I fell out with myself falling out of love with my shape again. I've not had any lager for over a week now, so that's weird. I usually have a nice little drink on a Thursday, but no, there's none required, none in the fridge. The week is good. The week is very good. It's very good, thank you. How about yours?
It's been not too bad, usual stuff, working and stuff. Obviously, Friday's rolling around and stuff, but yeah, keeping busy as always. So yeah, we've got a great week. Jim, of course. I mean, when I asked you to do this, you immediately went, "Yes, absolutely."
oh yeah. I mean, Wing Commander Nash has become a bit of a almost like an urban legend within my like friendship group. I think it's just the sort of out there nature of it. Like, I think it's fair to say that you have a very distinctive persona when you wrestle as Wing Commander Nash. And I think it really lends itself to a lot of imagination and yeah, you're definitely a talking point whenever I've seen anybody who's seen you for the first time.
Good. That's the example. I should be able to arrive. You see me. You want to buy tickets to come back and see me some more. That's my purpose. That's why I'm there for you. That's lovely to hear.
So yeah, today's show's obviously about you. We've got loads of stuff to talk about. We say this to everyone. If there's anything we ask which you don't feel comfortable talking about, just say next question. We move on. But a lot of people are open books, but you just got to be careful.
Yeah. Oh, that's absolutely fine. I'm here to chat away and disclose. I said a bad word on stream yesterday and nobody caught it and cut it and put it out there on social media. So that's nice. said it, there was instant regret. I felt a bit sick. I was like, I can't believe that word came out. It wasn't too rude of a word, but it was definitely a situation that shouldn't have been said on a stream, but it was rated for mature audiences. So there is that.
There you go. There you go. So, Jim, I tell you what, why don't you kick us off with your question?
Well, I was going to start with, like, how did you get into wrestling? But since you mentioned things being said on social media, when I looked at your sort of, do we call them tweets now, or do we call them X's, or whatever we call them?
They're always going to be tweets, and it's always going to be Twitter.
Yeah.
X is just a temporary nameplate.
So you put out a tweet a couple of weeks ago that you were watching X-Men 97. So
Yep.
did you watch this week's episode?
Oh, nice, cool. Start where there's tears in my eyes, and yeah, first of all, I'm like, I'm not down for Magneto and Rogue, but comic lore and bits and bobs. But that ending, I legitimately, I don't often do this, but I messaged 3 friends, and I was like, but by any chance, have you watched this? No. Stop what you're doing, go get it watched, and then I waited their response. Wow.
It
Just
took a
wow.
turn this week.
Oh, I was like, there's I'll just don't mind me. I'll go stand in the corner and have a cry. That was yeah. I was like, oh, Rogue, lovely, oh, amazing, oh, cute dance, hey up, going a bit weird. Hang on, what's he doing here? Oh, it was a roller coaster of emotions. It was the equivalent of me still backstage in just a pair of underpants and my music's playing and I have to put a full attire of clothes on and get out. It was wild.
Does that happen often that you're just backstage
Twice.
in your underpants?
Twice. And there was no runner and the venue was a little bit of an adventure and I was half dressed. So if you ever see me at a show and I only have trunks on and no tights and trunks, that is why. when the knees are exposed fully, I've been caught unaware. Either that or I've been too busy in my own little world to realize I should have been ready and leaving.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So I want to focus obviously on the True Grit thing. Obviously, that's the big part of obviously what you are. How did it obviously come to be that you obviously start working for True Grit?
Well, see, times and dates for me are going to be ruthless. Too many kicks to the head, or knees, or fists. True Grit. I remember its birth show. I was in the crowd, happily flipping the middle finger off at the bad guys and cheering. And Wesley and Serico was on it, and it was exciting and it was good fun. And that was in Leeds at Cardigan Fields. I can't remember the exact time it started, but that company came from the school I used to train at there. So obviously everybody was like, have you seen this venue? Look at this. We want to work in here, because I remember my first wrestling show outside of training school was on a nuclear power plant. Came away with 0 superpowers. Worst event of my life. All I got was a full belly of food and had a laugh. But the True Grit shows, as they'd gone on, I was how to describe my wrestling career. It's like looking at a CV of somebody who's travelled and they go, can you explain these gaps in between jobs? And I was like, it was a gap year. I went to a gap year, or I was kidnapped. So because I wasn't regularly training back then as much as I started to do again, I didn't get access onto the shows, but obviously I'd help out the shows because that was the thing. When with your school, you go help and you do the ring job and you watch all your friends wrestle and you go, one day I'll be on there. And I genuinely can't remember if the first show I appeared on, it was definitely, I think it was the York Rumble. They had a Rumble in York at a bar. Oh God, if I could remember the name of the bar now. It was a wicked venue. And I think it came out as Nash Hogan, a Mexican luchador chap, El Nash, and something else. And basically I just got battered. I can't remember. I wish I could remember it. And the weird part was the promoter was talking to me about this, about when I first came to True Grit, or first did the show. And it's basically from whenever before that weird thing that happened and the entire world had to put the brakes on, and then reoccurring and starting up again. It's just been a case of I've just never been able to win, no matter what's happening. So the daft stuff like I could wrestle elsewhere and win something elsewhere, win a title elsewhere. At True Grit, never had a single win, and it was starting to get quite bothersome to the point where I got mad pre-COVID that I'd lost to Boris Kozlov. Boris! And I was physically mad to the point where I'd caused an audible gasp, because at the end I started leathering the ring because I was frustrated with it. And then the world stopped, and then everybody shaved their heads and decided to do TikToks. and then it came back and I was like, I might need to grow some hair. And then, then just started again. And then it was smaller spots, or more in matches, and then still losing, not coping very well, to ended up having Ace Matthews offer guidance. So far, I think I'm going through the 10 steps of being a professional wrestler by Ace Matthews. I'm not sure he's made this book, but I'm pretty sure that's the way he's going with it. But at the moment, nothing's getting a nice tick on it. It's all getting fat X's. It's just, it's not the most exciting thing. Like I like seeing my face on the poster was good. It took some years to get that. That's when I knew I'd finally arrived, and I realised I found it when I walked past one in Leeds City Centre, and I had to do a double take, and I went, oh, and I'm pretty sure the people that were queuing before they closed off Leeds City Centre for the roadworks, and there's me looking at me, taking a picture of me in shock and awe, and the person in the car looking at me going, why is he taking the picture of a man on a poster? Because the difference is I have a tash, and the poster don't have a tash. So, so it was good. I think the images that True Grit used for me initially, before the weird sailor's hat one that they started using, Fibbers, that was it. Fibbers in York. That picture was taken in Fibbers in York at the venue backstage, and I asked if I could have some photos cheekily. Wasn't on the show, and I got some photos, and it ended up being those photos being used for True Grit. So it was like, I take photos here. You might see my face as you're scrolling through your roster or your pictures and go, who's that? Oh yeah, that's Nash. So maybe subliminally, that's how that may be created. But I'd love to tell you the day it was, but it was a long, long time ago when I had less grey around the sides and top of my head.
Jim, back to you.
Yeah, well, you mentioned there that you've not won a match in True Grit, and as I said in the intro, like, this friend of mine who was sort of talking you up and everything sold it to me as though that was your ongoing storyline. And is it deliberate then in True Grit that, and do you think about, like, because it's building a lot of momentum, this idea that people want to see whether that'll be your win, whichever show it is. And do you think about, is there a right time to pull the trigger on that, and what happens after a win?
I've been pulling the trigger every time I've run in the ring. I just want to I want to know what it feels like to win at True Grit and have the people like gently chant and wave and go, yeah, congratulations. At the moment, I'm so used to losing. It's just like, I don't know whether the last show that we did at Left Bank, I asked if I could come out to Will Smith's Wild Wild West, right? There was no Ace with me. I was like, I'm going to come out like a poncho wearing gunslinger with a duck sombrero hat, and I was like, this is it. Play Wild Wild West. I learned the dance, right? This is how far I went to I did the Wild Wild West dance. YouTube were great for that. Nailed it. I thought I can make it in this particular time with the edit. And then he went, we're going live. You won't be getting Wild Wild West. And I was like, oh. So if I could envision my Will Smith, I would go out and whoever's opposite me in the ring would get the big old slap for not taking my wife's name out the mouth. They'd go down. That'd be the pin. Shoot some imaginary guns. The win's done. I cartwheel out of the building, never to be seen again. Just walk off into the distance and have some Red Dead Redemption music playing as I walk down back into Leeds City Centre from the venue. So, for me, winning wise, I'd genuinely love a win. I think it's wanting it and then getting it. I genuinely have no idea how I'm going to react when it does happen. I think it'd be more of a case of, it's probably going to feel like a complete fluke, or it'll be a 3 win, ding, ding, ding. And I'm going to sit there and go, that was definitely a 2. He definitely kicked out a 2 as I try to pick him up and give him another massive F5 or an ejector seat and try to get the job finished. So if you are my opponent when I win, I'm sorry, but you're getting drilled 3 or 4 times just to make sure that you're definitely not getting back up, but it's definitely a win. That's as much as you get in there. If you can have a really small opponent that's got a tendency to lay down and sleep, that will be fantastic. That's all I require. Just, in fact, there's an idea. Might have a blanket match, and the first opponent to fall asleep loses.
Oh dear. Chris Holt says, deliberate. Are you trying to tell me wrestling is predetermined? Next you will tell me Santa isn't real.
Hey, we discovered in this house at Christmas, my 12-year-old told me that Santa isn't real. I fell off the sofa. I had to go in the kitchen and just have a stiff drink and try my best to not call her a liar to her face. it's all real. It's all real. It's as real as what's really current at the moment that everybody really likes and enjoys. It's as real as X-Men 97 was. That's how real it was. It's as real as that. Those really colourful people on the TV screen that live in a non-dual area. I don't know where they record it, but it's so vibrant and fresh coloured. It's as real as that.
I Wilburn says, "Love you, Nash." I Wilburn Arts in the comments. So,
oh, Wilburn! Fun fact: I promised that man I would. He asked me a question and I would answer it. And I've told him it's prepared to be answered. Just, I apologise. It is on its way. He'll know what I mean by this if he can scratch his head and go, "God, that was ages ago, Nash."
is it this what I'm going to ask next? Is it a loser makes a noise match?
That was a thing. Do you know what hurts me, right? Everybody backstage was like, that was fantastic, that was great. And I was like, oh, call me Barry Big Groin. I was like walking around when I had a fun. I arrived at the venue. I flew to Newcastle because I don't drive, because I'm a pilot. And I landed, saw my opponent. I went, my word, you are a mime. And he went, yes. And I went, you're not a mime now because you just said yes. And I says, do you want to have first one to make a noise loses? He laughed. We went for it. It would have gone swimmingly if the referee hadn't taken my brass knuckles out of my hand, right? I genuinely enjoyed that. That was some of the most bizarre. I like. Oh, what about the real curtain? I like to ideally have fun with whoever I've got as an opponent because there's a place for everybody on a match card in my eyes. So you serious boy who doesn't smile and kicks you. You've got your tag teams. You get your ladies wrestling. We've got intergender matches. We've got all kinds of good stuff that can be available on any card whatsoever, and just something for everybody. Because not one person's going to go to a show and go, "I absolutely loved every bit of that." Because if they say that, they've gone to the wrong kind of show, or they're clearly high on drugs. And when I put this idea to him as an idea of what I think would work well as something silly and good, and he approved of it, and we put it to work to go. The day after, the promoter of the company was like, "We're doing it, Silence in Violence 2," and I was like, "But no, Silence in Violence 1 was the one. It was the Terminator 2 of the quadrilogy." Yeah, Silence in Violence was a great laugh for me, just purely. There was a lady in the crowd, and as I tried to get them to do a clap, but without making a clap, she started laughing. So obviously I zoned in on her and I was like, and then she tried to like stop it. She was putting her head under her jacket, and I could just see her head going like this. That for me, that was a sterling adventure. I genuinely enjoyed that. That's what I would say. Never seen the footage back ever. Never. So that moment will last in the people's brains who were there in Newcastle and saw it live. Never to be seen again. Never to be seen again.
I Wilburn says Silence in Violence is one of the best matches that I've ever seen. Incredible storytelling.
And I've never duplicated anything like that ever again. So it's the Terminator 2 of however many of those Terminator movies they made. It's the I want that on a QR code on my gravestone, and then people can scan it and find the footage and go, brilliant. So much to say, but say nothing at all, and that'll be me done.
And then, right then, Jim, back to you.
Well, you mentioned a little bit there about sort of pulling the curtain back, and we had the question using the word predetermined. But sort of in the modern era, I think it's fair to say a lot of fans know what the score is. For you as a fan, I'm presuming you were a wrestling fan when you were younger. Was there sort of a light bulb moment when you realised what it was, and did that make you more interested in getting into it, or?
I was 30, one-ish, and I went to a training school, and I took my first bump, and then I was like, that hurt, and then we started going through moves and spots, whatever, and I found out how the international sequence was created, And then was the only moment that wrestling was ruined for me. I'd seen it done a million times. Send them off, sleep at the feet, hop over them, give them a move. Just amazing. Not as you don't see much of it now, but obviously back then as a kid, watching Bret the Hitman Hart going to work and him being the greatest Intercontinental Champion as a kid, or watching Sergeant Slaughter punch Hulk Hogan in the head repeatedly, and then the surgically stitched bandaged on his big forehead getting pulled and slowly but surely more blood coming from Hogan's head. I was like, it was the best thing ever. Like me watching wrestling now, yeah, it took till 31 until I realized, oh, right, so this is how it goes. I thought it was going to be, you had to think about how you're going to fight and see how it goes. Because I'm very innocent like that. I'm so innocent, I didn't realize that Papa Shango and the Godfather were the same man. So there's that excitement in my life. So that's how very easily stupid I am. Yeah, I think I like to watch wrestling and enjoy it. So if somebody says to me, "Oh, Nash, do you want to do a homework night? We'll watch some matches." I'll be like, "Of course, let's do it. Sit down, we'll have food, we'll watch it, and we'll go, yeah. 3 minutes it will take me before I'm back being a fan and ignoring all the little intricacies that they're all doing in the ring. I'm going, oh, that were ace, that were proper good." And then WrestleMania was the perfect example. I could have been in here watching it, and I could have made as much noise as I wanted, but I didn't. I decided to have it in the house. Sunday night or Sunday morning, Monday morning, sorry, at 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was, when the old Cody did the thing, I had to scream without screaming because there were other people in the house. So if there's anybody peeping on me, joke's on you because I made no noise, but I was like, I didn't want to wake nobody, so I was just internally screaming. I was going, and then I went out and bought the game. See, that's how they suck you in, don't they? They just right. The next thing you know, you're popping out shop to grab a copy of 2K24, and then you find the people that know you at shows online, and you think I better beat them because they'll think I'm stupid, and I get rinsed twice. And I was like, oh, it was that way we're going. I had Ridge Holland versus one of the Profits lads, Montel, Marcus. I've got the name wrong. Sue me. And we had that at WrestleMania 3. But where did I win? As Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior in NXT 2.0. So don't work for me, brother. It did that time because I won. And then I went as Elite Cody Rhodes versus Bray Wyatt. And for some reason, the triangle button didn't approve of my touch. He was like, I'm all right, mate. We're not having any of this. Montez thought, thank you. Him, right? That Chris Holt lad, that he Chris Holted me. So I got battered twice and I turned my console off. And then I went, no, I'm having none of it. I'll just download the 8 gig of stream and I'll review it later when I probably never will. Sorry,
Are you gonna do a create a wrestler of Wing Commander Nash?
I always do because it's the law. I've done it since SmackDown.
Excellent.
Here Comes the Pain, and I used to dress as a member of the NWO or DX, depending on how I was feeling back then. Or there'd be Spider-Man, because there'd be people on the internet making Spider-Man. I remember printing off some sheets and going, right, need all these codes and attributes and I'll make a perfect Spider-Man. Remember when Fred Durst was in it? That was wild.
Yeah.
He used to come out to his rolling entrance and look at his wonky knees, rolling. So I always create my own, apart from the last couple of games that have come out. My daughter, she likes to create her character. So I sit and watch how she designs hers, and then God love her, when she gets battered by the absolute annihilation of the first ever opponent that she's got on like my rise. I'm like, you'll get better. I was like, no, you won't. Your attributes are rotten. So it's I'll create my character this year. I'm gonna go all Japan style and just plain black trunks. It's definitely has a mustache. And then I might even go kick pads and proper be a little bit like someone's definitely getting kicked in the head and use 0 kicks. But I always like it if wrestling fans create it. Last year there was a few absolute bangers of me were made. I'd been done as Wing Commander Nash. They'd done me as Miles' dad in Rise. Then they had the alternate attires where it used to be in a singlet, and I was like, whoa! And then I download it, and then I get Brock Lesnar and I beat myself up. It's good, man. It's good. The wrestling world and fans are brilliant. There's always something nice to be had from a wrestling fan. If a wrestling fan don't like, I know there's an elite squad of 3 that come to shows, and I make a very avid point of getting right in their face and killing them with kindness. And I know deep down they detest me, and it's my favourite thing to get on them. Absolute favourite.
So, what's your favourite wrestling game you played then out of all of them?
Whoa, here comes the pain. To the point. Have I betrayed myself? No, there it is. Sorry, lads, we're going off. We're going on a tangent. We've gone on Wing Commander Nash's game collection. Get out of the box. Oh yeah, here comes the pain. Look at that. Should do a YouTube makeup video. I'm using the Here Comes the Pain palette. That will be available in Sky Blue. But don't forget, Just Bring It is also available. And never ever buy from CEX because they outdo you on a manual. Dirty, sweaty beasts. Oh, I'll tell you, yeah, got a receipt in that one, but no manual. Shocking behaviour. Disgusting. Shame on yourselves. Somebody on the internet is working for CEX and selling game manuals and slowly buying millions of properties.
The worst thing's when you buy a film and they photocopied the DVD sleeve.
Oh, I've seen some shit. You know, once I have some good experiences and then I have some bad experiences. And I went to trade in a set of headphones because I'd upgraded Xbox headphones, and he went, "Have you got the USB Type-C charging cable that goes with this?" I was like, "No." When I bought them from you, it didn't come with one. "Oh well, we'll have to knock you £5 off because I haven't got a cable." I was like, "Oh really?" Pound shop. There you go. So I was like, "You little shysters coming for me like that." Unreal behaviour. But yeah, here comes the pain because I was a huge Brock Lesnar fan to the point where you just stand there in the bathroom as a young lad. "Oh, I'm so massive. When I finish brushing my teeth, I'm going to pick my mum up and throw her downstairs in an F5. Not that you would, because that'd be awful. But yeah,
Jim,
some
back
of
to you.
that action, the activity, the animations, it was all good fun.
So you've mentioned like a couple of different promotions that you've appeared in. Can you give us a bit of an idea, sort of what it's like working within the British scene? Because a lot of people seem to do a lot of different promotions, and how does that all work? Just give us a bit of insight into what the British scene looks like these days.
Do you know, I can't like super comment like on the whole of the scene because I don't work as regular as everybody else. I know my place on the card, so if there's no place for me on that card in the promoter's eyes, that's absolutely fine because if I'm ever asked to work for a company, I ask them, "What do you think? If there's a way I can benefit the show, how do you think we can do it together?" Because I've always seen it like it's not show friends, it's show business. So to me, and obviously my time away from my house or my kids, that's why I have mustache things to do because when I'm not in front of a camera or in a stage, my time predominantly, apart from washing the dishes or trying to get a cat off a bed that's pretending to be dead, I'm like, "Move, you're in my spot, get out." So when I go to shows, working for the companies, it's the same process: arrival, find out when the rings come in, arrival, see you end up seeing the similar faces that deliver the ring, have a catch up with them, have a chat, do what I did, go to Sheffield, leave your coat behind. 3 days later, have to go back and collect your coat, but then come back and then find you've got a parking 500 quid because you were too late to leave the venue, and then you have to go back to the venue. That was hilarious. But yeah, so any other company that you go to, doesn't matter for me, wherever I've traveled, it's the same thing. Arrive, meet wrestlers that are there, any of the other workers, whether it's camera people, referees, merchandise, ring crew, wrestlers, friends and family that are there at the same time. You're there going with my mindset is I'm obviously a bit of a sausage and I'm fooling myself quite often. I can go off on a wild little happy tangent, but that's me. But you kind of greet everybody, say hello, play catch up if you haven't seen somebody for ages, and then it's down to business because that's what it is at the end of the day. Ask the promoter, "What are you needing from us today for your show?" To obviously want to see if there's going to be a continuation, if you're going back to that company. It's making you want to make sure that the promoter's happy and that what the promoter wants to put on for you to put on for the paying customers, because at the end of the day, anybody can go viral on a clip and it's great and it's lovely because you get that admiration. But if Mr. and Mrs. Smith have brought their kid and then their kid's happy because all kids are happy when there's fighting. If their parents are not involved, they're like, I'll go, but can you take him because I can't be bothered going, is that's how I see some parents. Whereas if the parents are enjoying it at the same time, they're not going to have issue paying money to bring their kids back in again, and then go, oh, here, there's that idiot that comes out, that pretend pilot lad from 50s, and or there's that big meathead with muscles that throws people here, there, and everywhere. So for me, it's the British scene itself. I imagine it's thriving because we've got a lot of activity. There's more than enough ways to watch shows now. More and more companies are starting to stream their product on it. If there isn't already an on-demand service, my TV in here, I looked at my streaming services and I went, I haven't watched that. I'll get rid of that. I'll save $9.99. I had to have like a little cull, and then Sod's Law, something happens and you end up re-signing back in to watch it. But yeah, for my outlook on it is, you're there to do a job. As fun as silly as it is, it's all grand. And then when the ring's away, you can all head home or fly home like I do. But I usually land at a McDonald's, eat an obscene amount of food, and then go home and complain that my stomach don't feel right because I've eaten far too much. And I've been told I'll have to sleep on the sofa for fear of breaking wind and waking up the other half. It's just a dangerous life, really. Get beaten in the ring, get beaten by a wife. What do I really need to do more of?
What's the go-to McDonald's order?
At the moment, it's chicken selects and the McCrispy combination. It depends because my diet's recently had an overhaul. One of the shows I did in Selby, the promoter, fantastic, sent me the match footage back the next day. I was super gassed to see that. Saw all the silliness, and I just saw my silhouette, and I was like, I've done it again. I've let myself go. So at the moment, I look like a rabbit when I eat now. You know, when you open a fridge, you've got that big salad box where people just occasionally put like tins of beer in, because that's what I used to do. I'd be like, oh, can I fill this? Of course I can. A nice 18 pack will fill this. I open it now, I'm like, oh, look, there's the carrots that I sliced and the cucumber. There's some kale, and to the other cupboard, we have a selection of nuts to chew from. And then we go back here, we've got sections of fish. I cooked some chicken. It's bland. But I have started to drop weight now, so it's nice. So what I'm actively doing, I'm finally under 17 stone, and I have threatened the lads, saying, think about this, lads. If I get in shape and learn how to wrestle, you're all in trouble. So the goal for me at the moment is to half scare the lot of them by being in shape, and then I won't potentially get beaten and lose like I do at True Grit. I'll be able to take my t-shirt off, blind them with my Peter Andre 1996 Mysterious Girl abs, throw some water in the air, big cutter. These are the plans, you see. You've got to think forward. What's the plan of action? That's what I'm thinking.
Absolutely. So last week you was at Planet Wrestle, obviously teaming up with the Music Man against the Pop Punk Kid and Chili
Yep.
Heatwave.
Chili Heat.
How did this
Wave.
talk about this match and obviously the build-up and stuff?
Yeah, there was me and Chili have met previously. We had some silliness with Chili. Chili this time, apart from doing some maneuvers on me and causing me to be a little bit, he smacked my bum, tied me into a bit of a pretzel. It was just all around shenanigans from him. He's definitely, while he's been at Pursuit Pro Wrestling, he's definitely putting his time and his teaching and training in. He's a swine on the mats, bless him. Yeah, we had a good fun, and obviously we had the Music Man. So this is my first time with the Music Man, and he loves to shout "Well," and just be very like Elvis Presley-esque. So as soon as he was shouting "well," I obviously decided there's only one word that comes after "well." Oh well, several words. And he went "well," I went, "It's the big show," and I was good. I was singing on just to whip an arm out. So it was fantastic. Planet Wrestle is he's just one of my new little favorite family-friendly shows. And then somebody we were putting the ring up, and somebody put some stuff on and went, "Have you seen this?" And lo and behold, there was another poster, and I saw my face on it, and I went, "Hey, there we are." The same graphic from True Grit's Tashless Wing Commander Nash, available on posters in Leeds, and I was like, nobody's gonna recognize that me. Look at that filtering. And yeah, it was nice to see myself still there. So obviously going forward, I'm probably still gonna be on Planet Wrestle, which is great because I love them shows. They are there's like, wrestling is a variety show, and that's what they offer as it should be. A bit of everything for everyone on there. Lots of love for Planet Wrestle. I love or any company that wants me to work for them. Lots of love for them. Unless, what's worst case scenario? Unless I get £100 car parking fine, which then gets resolved, or you drive to the McDonald's post show and everything's gone, and the McDonald's staff have closed the door, and you are not allowed in unless you've got a Just Eat bag. And I promise you, I definitely haven't Googled a Just Eat bag on eBay just to leave in the back of the plane, not a car. So yeah, I enjoy every company I work for. There's always been something good. I've never had a negative thing where I've come back and gone, ultimately, never again. There could be hiccups, but there's hiccups with everything. But it's Planet Wrestle for laugh. Music Man all the way. Have you seen his gear? He's got like, obviously wrestlers have kick pads. So his gear, sorry, if anyone's got a foot fetish, claim it now because I'm wearing socks. His kick pads are designed so they'll look just like cowboy boots. Now, I've got a thing for people's gear. Not a weird thing, but if you want to put like effort and detail into your ring gear, I'm here for it because I want to see how creative you can buy. This is coming from a man that wrestles in a green t-shirt and a pair of blue tights and trunks because, hey, I'm from the 1940s. But his ring gear was just like solid. Like the cowboy boots as kick pads blew my mind. I thought, if I'm ever doing a cowboy gimmick, because I do want to do that at some point, I'm definitely going for the kick pad covers that look like cowboy boots rather than wearing actual cowboy boots. Oh, it's just stunning. Little bits of detail I love.
Jim, back to you.
Well, you've talked there like you said you quite fancy doing a cowboy gimmick, and you've alluded to Wing Commander Nash being from the 40s. How does that come about then? At what point did you decide I'm going to be a 1940s aviator? That's going to be the way to go.
Okay, so when I first started wrestling, I was JG Nash, the geek of British wrestling. The Dudley got glasses, braces, a shirt, a pair of trousers that were cut into shorts with a lovely seam on them. So they were folded nicely over my knees. I had a pocket money in the bank briefcase, and I also had the Wonder Pants Championship. I invested myself. I say invested. We got a rebate from the utilities company of like 280 quid. This was years ago. So obviously I ordered a belt with it from India. So when The Rock revealed the big logo championship belt, I had one made, and it was my autograph, which was the J and the G. I did that on the cameras in the opposite way. But it said Wonder Pants where it said champion. So I was the Wonder Pants champion because I wore Wonder Pants to wrestle in. Right? But basically cartoons from the 80s or other relevant themes. So as I've started my wrestling career, I'm doing this geek thing and I'm getting a bit older and I start seeing more grey hairs appearing. I went, oh no, I'm going to have to act more older. And I was like, what's older? I was like, gentleman. As you get older, you become a wiser gentleman. I was like, what's my favourite kind of gentleman? A calm gentleman. And then the gentleman became more and more, hello, it's me. And then I was like, I now fly planes. I was like, I have the heart of a Hawker Hurricane, which turns out to be a Rolls-Royce engine. I was like, boom, that's me. Let's have a look at the attire. I'm now, and that's it. And then I actually do have a pilot's license, a real life, legit pilot's license. And I was like, this makes perfect sense. I was like, but I'm not coming out as the Top Gun type dude. As much as I'd love a boiler suit and just whip out of that and be a set of gear down for it, I was like, no, I want something else. And then there was a comedian in the early 90s. I want to say Russ Abbott, but I don't at the same time just to get wrong. And he portrayed a pilot that had just crash landed, and he had the scarf that stands out like that, and he had bullet holes all in it, had the mustache, the hat, the jacket, and I was like, Googled and I was like, yep, ordered the jacket. That's definitely my size. Oh, China, you dirty liar. When that arrived, I was like, oh, this jacket doesn't quite fit. I'm going to have to stretch it. So have you ever seen a grown man climb in a jacket and then sit in the bath and then tense around it in the bath to get out and then do some more stretching to then walk around in it for a short period to then take it off and then let it air dry so it was a little bit longer? Because when I put that jacket on and my arms were down, the sleeves came to there. I was like, oh no. And being as a tight Yorkshire lad, I refuse to buy another jacket. So if I get any hencher, I'm going to have to cut the sleeves off the jacket. That's my only next plan of action. But that is unfortunately how I went from the geek of British wrestling that lived at home with his mum to getting a job in an airport. See where we're going? It was cleaning. Yep. and then he got a job in the airport. Then before you know it, he's got a pilot license, and now he flies planes. And he doesn't live at home with his mum because he's got his own property. The geek of British wrestling grew up. He's got silver in his hair and his pounds in his pockets. And that's why I win Commander Nash.
This is brilliant. In preparation for this show, the craziest thing I actually saw was you and Miles Kamen. What the hell is this about?
Uh-oh. What did we do? Was it the Mario Brothers?
Yeah, well, the crazy things you guys come up with, absolutely crazy. Talk about working with Miles.
Oh wow, Miles is an actual gift to British wrestling. He's like more dialed in than ever. He's like, if I could go back and be young again, I'd like to take the adventures that Miles has taken, and the stuff he learned. Watching him in ring, and some of the shenanigans that we've come up together with, and done as the concept of a father and son. It's easy for me because I'm legitimately a parent with a 22-year-old boy and a 12-year-old girl. I like to space them out by 10 years. Just the dynamic of being a father-son. So Rise, when they came to me, the owner of Rise wasn't a fan of Wing Commander at all. Didn't suit his plans for Rise, which is perfectly fine because if you're putting on a show, you want your thing. So he said to me, he says, "You're going to be Miles' dad." And I was like, okay, that's cool. I am able to do this because you have to leave yourself open creativity of sorts because it's wrestling. So it's not as simple as somebody going, "Tonight you're a bad guy." Well, sometimes it is. Or tonight you're the good guy. Or tonight this is going to happen, but we need you to do this. And I was like, cool. There was already a story being built by Miles in Rise where his dad stopped the deathmatch shows and any kinds of wild violence. So all these fans go to the show getting drunk. And then Miles comes out and is like, "You lot have come here for this certain particular death match. Well, I've just been on the phone to my dad," because obviously he's a rich boy. And he's a lawyer and he's got it cancelled. It's not happening. Loads of heat. It was like watching Young Dom before Young Dom. So everyone's booing at him awful. And eventually the arrival of Miles' dad happens at the Rise Rumble, commemorated by a massive silk chair that I've got here by Chair Painted Freaks. 2019. That's the only way I can go for a date because it's on the chair. So Miles' dad comes in as the lawyer. And then there's a rumble. So I've come out and we've done a promo and a chat and had a giggle. Miles is like, I've made a point of not hugging him and only shaking his hand because it's business. And then just being a bit of a sausage. It was only going to be a temporary thing, I believe. But because of the rumble started, the wrestlers were going out and I came out and I genuinely thought I was going to be hated because I'd stopped these death matches and everything else like that. I walked out, horrifically loud pop. I'm dressed in a singlet and a pair of shooters, and I've called myself Hurt Ankle rather than Kurt Angle because obviously I know wrestling as a dad. Shenanigans, stupidity, and then from there it kind of stemmed where Miles' dad became a part of faction within Rise, and then we hated each other. We were fighting with each other every other show, and every time I was about to win. I remember one point we were in Middlesbrough and I had Miles by the scruff of the neck and I spat on my fist and I went, "This is going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt me." And then I went to go punch him in the face and then I got low blowed and rolled up. So I was never able to finish hitting my own child, which sounds awful online. So I look forward to the hate from that. The story goes on. Shows are coming back for Rise. Stuff's happening. We are aware of each other. Every time he sees me, I want to hurt him. Every time he sees me, vice versa. And then at one show, we in a rumble, because how it starts is how it ends. We're in a rumble, bang, bang, people flying, bodies everywhere, back to back without rising. We knock backs, turn around, see each other. Remember, I've never hugged this boy for however many years it's gone on from Wrestle. From 2019, never given one hug, no family hug. The crowd have chanted for it, never got a hug. Jumps up, big, massive hug. The Miles dynasty is now back on the same page, leading to today. We've been the Mario Brothers. We've been Batman and Robin. I came out as a terrible looking Volta at one point. It's just a pair of trunks and a large coat and coming out to opera music. That was nice. The dynamic going forward for us is we are currently heading. We want the new, soon to be arriving at some point, Rise Tag Team Championships. So we've declared that we're the best ever Rise tag team they've ever had in the business. So I imagine the tag teams like Crash Boat or Boy 1 and Boy 2 as are referred to on there, well, they've split now as well. So yeah, so at the moment, we are the only tag team. So it makes sense that we get a tag team championship. And then I can parade that around and not prove it, obviously. But the stuff with me and Miles is it's been a nice natural flow. It almost felt like it was real, but at the end of the day, it's like he's my wrestling child, but he's not my child. But the dynamic of us two together, one of his favorite moments in Rise, he won't mind saying this because he reminds me of it quite regularly, is one of the Rumbles. He eliminates me and thinks he's clever, and then I end up sneaking back in to eliminate him. And the eruption from the Broodnell Club in Leeds when he got eliminated and I pointed and laughed at him was one of his finest moments because of the sheer volume of the building shaking and whatever. Nash winner title, never. Hey, whoever said that, I used to be a pro wrestling for you tag team champion with JC Thunder, so in your face. So it's like the dynamic for me and Miles. We discussed what's happening in May briefly. There'll be no spoilers, but Will Smith may be involved, and it's not Cowboys. But if you expect me to pull up in a Ferrari and him to shoot my dashboard with a gun, and then I get told I can't have money to repair it because it's a Ferrari and not a police car, we're definitely not doing Bad Boys neither. I ain't got the physical specimen shape to be running around with my top off and beating people up. So we've discussed a couple of things. We've got a few plans for that, but at the moment, I just enjoy watching Miles just as a human in general. The investment in himself, his ring presence and attention to detail, his move set, agility, everything. He's very much. If I was younger, I'd want to do the same things he's doing. Whereas I look at him now and go, if I did that, both my legs would blow off like a demolition derby doll. It's it's great. It's such a wonderful. Like you meet all kinds of people in wrestling, all kinds. Some people you don't think you'll get on with as like how to describe a first impression when you meet somebody. Turns out absolutely lovely humans, laughing and giggling away. It's not like Chinese whispers being played, but you just think I don't think they'd talk to me for whatever reason. And then they turn out to be absolutely lovely. And Miles is definitely just. You can see he's like ridiculously hungry for it, and you can tell in everything that he does and says. And just seeing him laugh, or if he turns around and sees me doing something ridiculous, and then watching him laugh, and it being a natural reaction from him, not a forced "let's tell a story," it creased me for days. So a lot of love for Miles and everything he does. I hope he gets the world and more because he more than deserve it. The golden boy, God love him with his bling and his good gear. There's me playing blues.
Jim, back to you.
You've mentioned Wesley and Serico a couple of times, and
don't know him.
For people who've not been watching Gladiators, he got to the final in Gladiators, and a bit unfairly, he picked up an injury in it. But my point is, when they were doing his kind of hype videos, if you were eagle-eyed, you could spot Wing Commander Nash in there. So was that pretty cool to be on the most watched TV show of the week?
No, it was more cooler for him to be on the show. I was obviously at the live shows, and I was wounded because he was playing Powerball, and the footage they used of me losing my mind, dressed similarly in Pokemon Chain and Black T-shirt. I jumped up to scream and then give everybody a good look at my belly. Unintentionally, but I was just gassed because that was when he did the eliminator in the semis. So I knew he was final bound, and I literally lost my mind. But the filming process for that, we were trying to find a location where we could do it because this says, obviously, is there any other outside hobbies? Oh yeah, wrestling, rah, rah, rah. So I was like, let's give Pursuit Pro Wrestling in Sheffield a shout. And Nathan and Liam agreed that we could film it in there with BBC, and it was cool because they also got their brand shown on there at the same time. Or even if it's only for a quick click like that, you still got to see the venue. Obviously, they've moved now and got a bigger place, but obviously it's still in Sheffield. It's all good. But the filming side of that, the crew were more than accommodating and asking if there was any particular thing we would like to do. We would then think as wrestlers, okay, if you to do this and do this, how cool would this look? And then he'd get the angle right, and then we'd run through it. And yeah, I just got my head kicked in. It was weird how many people on my Facebook under my real life name were messaging me going, not being funny, but is this you? And I'm like, well, quite clearly it is me looking like I'm blowing out my backside. It was a good laugh, but seeing him do it, and the I don't think many people realize that it's filmed over 5 days. So the whole process, everybody's just getting battered for 5 days. So for him to come through it, I went backstage to film with him, but my segment didn't air, and I was raging because I said to him, if you don't win this, don't ever call me again.
Mm.
And he was wrapped in ice, and he was just sat there, and I was like, are you even in the room? And he was like, nope. I was like, you sleeping? What's going on here? The whole process of it was wild for him. But I mean, he's done endurance running and marathons and ultras and stuff like that. He likes to push himself. So to see him that physically broken, I hadn't seen him like that since I tore his groin years ago when we were in training together, and I tried to rip his leg off. So it's just, yeah, I've known him as long as I've been in wrestling. I've known him, and we agreed we had a 10-year war, and then we realized it had gone past 10 years, and I was like, let's make it a 20-year war. So I've still got until I'm 50 to batter him properly. He's a really, like, genuinely another lovely human. Can't say enough good things about him. We don't see each other as much as we should, but when we do see each other, it literally goes like that. And I'm like, we need to actually just say, let's not meet up on a wrestling show day, and then we can do the things where we go to the gym, get something to eat, come back into this little studio gaff shed base, and just sit down, play some games together, and just have like normal chat outside of wrestling and stuff. It's life just gets faster and faster the older you get, which is what I'm realizing more and more now. So I remember being a kid and going, I want to grow up, me. I want to have my own place. I'm like, don't do it. It's a dirty lie. Be a child forever. So it's time just ramps up, and before you know it, I'll be waiting to cash my pension in, and I'll still be water one on True Grit. I'll be like, oh, I've worked till 66 and I'm still not winning.
Yeah, but you'll get the military pension though from being an aviator. So
you see that I'm just thinking, as long as I can like extend my garden to an actual runway, and then if I get really bored, I can just like land. I'll come in and land, and if I find out there's no food cooked for me on the arrival home, I'll just smash into conservatory and blame the weather. That's all I can do. But yeah, it's cool. Gladiators was fantastic. It was nice seeing the new versions of the Wolf and the new versions of Jet Saber, and seeing the other Gladiators Saber. And did I mention Saber? Yeah, I really like Saber. Yeah, cool, man. I'm ready for season 2. Sorry, not sorry. May have applied as a contender and may have applied as a gladiator in Wing Commander Nash form, because I'm that daft. But there's over 5,000 applicants already, so I don't be expecting to see me on TV in July.
Oh, it'd be brilliant if you did, though. Just watching it going, oh my God, that's Wing Commander Nash.
And I can imagine like, hi, you may remember me from Series 1. I got beaten up by Wesley, the finalist. And then imagine this. I go in as a contender, Wesley returns as a gladiator. And I messaged him, I was like, applications all sent. I was like, fun fact, if you do become a gladiator and I do get to a contender, I'm legitimately going for both your knees. And he was like, cool, I remember that. So I don't even care if it's a non-contact bit that we're doing at first. I'm just going to go straight for his knees and put him down.
There you go. So one thing we've not spoke about is obviously the comedy side of wrestling. So a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people dig it. I personally dig it. What's your opinion, obviously, on comedy side of wrestling? Obviously, I know your character's obviously a big part of you.
Yeah. There needs to be. I'd love to be on every show being the comedy wrestler, but there's an awful lot of talented people that do it far better than me. I would want that little bit of breakdown before you get something serious to come through. So you want, depending on where you get placed on a card, I've gone on after an almighty all weapons match, which blew the crowd's mind. And I just looked at my opponent and I was like, this is going to be tough, because they were so like invested and screamed everything out. For us to come out there, like nothing was landing because people were like refuel and recharge at that point. And I was like, oh man. So we tried what I thought would go, ended up sinking. There's, for me, for my character and how I treat wrestling, gauge the crowd, depending on when I'm on. see what the crowd are like and what they're reacting to in the first match, because that way you know what they're wanting to see for the rest of the show. So depending on who goes on first, you can get a rough eye of they like this kind of stuff, they don't like this kind of stuff. Right, who's my opponent? Do you mind me making a fool by doing this, this, and this? And they'll either go yes, or they'll go no. If they say no, we meet in the middle. Do you remember Theme Park? Where at the game, and then you'd agree on wages, and sometimes the staff will pull their hands back and forth, and you'd be like, "Come on, my PC's red hot, my mouse ball needs cleaning," and then eventually shake hands. It's that with wrestling. So you try find where I think this would be silly to do, but then if this happens, they get that option to do that, and then you hope for the best. There have been hundreds, not hundreds. There has been times where I've gone out and thought this will make them laugh, and it doesn't, and you go, "Oh, I have died inside." But the next bit then catches them back out. So it's a judge of character for me. If you can read the crowd well enough, you know what you can get away with, as long as making sure that your opponent knows that what you're doing isn't you going into business for yourself, if that makes sense. Like trying to put yourself super over and ignoring the other guy completely, because that's just not how it goes. It's a two-way, it's a two-person dance, a two-way street. We can't just one-side it and put a ball out up on it. So for me, comedy there should always be some element of fun in a wrestling show, because wrestling is a variety show. You're not going to watch 8 matches where the same style is happening over and over. If you want that, watch the same video on YouTube several times of 2 lads beating each other up in UFC. You need variety for anything of an entertainment purpose. It just makes sense. Like you can watch the Avengers movies, and there will be their tones that they have. You know, you've got a backstory to a character, but you don't quite know what the end game is. No pun intended. Where it's going to go on this side, but that journey in between, it's not just we're the Avengers. We'll just avenge everything. Bam, 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 bam. Here's the big bad. There's the woo, 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 woo. That to me is the easiest way to describe any wrestling show. I want to see a roller coaster of emotions, where it's someone seething, spitting, and ready to stab somebody, to somebody like in love, to somebody crying because they can't believe that their favorite, that's usually a kid or me, and then just seeing this go. And then when the crowd leave, I want them to go, "Oh, but when this happened and when this happened," rather than, "Oh, do you remember that guy in the black hit the other guy that was in the black?" I'm not saying wearing all black's a bad thing. Just saying how a wrestling fan will portray something. Say, "What about that guy in the blue pants with the belly and the green t-shirt?" I'm like, "How very dare you?" And then I'll fight them in the car park. It's that there should be elements of everything. So I think with me knowing my place and my abilities and limits, I know what I bring, and then the silliness that comes out there. I'm a character. I'm a gob, rather than you wouldn't see me in a British rules match. Well, you would, but I'd be losing very quickly. Don't expect to see me in like a shoot on shoot match neither, because I know about 4 holds, and then I just have to slap them around the head and tap out. Not saying I wouldn't be willing to try, but it's yeah. There's a place for comedy as much as there's a place for a tag team match, there's a place for a women's match, there's a place for a multi-man, but not too many multi-men, because too many multi-men creates madness. Your main event vibes for title championships. There we go. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Yeah. Sorry, I keep going on a tangent. I do apologize, chaps.
That's absolutely fine. Jim, back to you.
Well, you're talking there about like how you have ideas and you run them by, and it's give or take and everything. So
Yeah.
in the multi-man match at the last True Grit show in York, you did a spot where you brought out the bag, which everybody thought was going to be thumbtacks, but it was actually little squeaky rubber duckies.
The thumb quack.
The thumb quacks, that's it. So where did that come from? And was there any pushback from anyone on that idea?
No, they'll be fine. I think you'll find a wrestler would much rather take a nasty throw onto some rubber ducks than he would drawing pins. But that was more the Nash boat stuff that's popping off for True Grit now, and ducks that are available to buy at every show. They're now the thumb quacks going forward. So they repeated. So that happened in York. There was ducks everywhere, and then lo and behold, I go through a table. Sucks to be me. And then the following show, Meat Wagon thought they were big and brawly and bad, and they went to go get the chalk that they threw in my face at the start of the show. But oh no, There was no chalk in the bag to be yeeted at their opponents' faces. It was just ducks, which was great because obviously I appeared to point and laugh and get my comeuppance on them for being pains in the butt to me and mistreating me like they did. So the thumb quacks are just more from Nash, but I don't know how many duck ranged things we could possibly bring. I've yet to see what's arriving Saturday, so I'm expecting weird and wonderful, and then we'll work out how we will ruin people's lives with ducks.
So you mentioned obviously Saturday. Now you're going to be in the corner of obviously Ace Matthews against Rory Coyle. What can we expect?
Nash boat, Nash boat, Nash boat. That's all I can suggest or say. Ace is the deathmatch cutie, as he's referring to himself at the same time. Rory Coyle's not exactly known for just putting you in a chin lock. I once took a DDT off Rory that was so wild it threw my shoulder out, and then I was trapped in a cage for 15 minutes of the match. That's stuff. I have a thumb quack on my PC at West Yorkshire 999. I've got a thumb. Where are we? Whoop. Look, there's a real big thumb quack. Look, we'll do it. YouTube. We're going to use the yellow duck palette. This is Quack Turner. He was thrown violently across the venue in Leeds and was found in the back. So the only reason why I know it's Quack Turner is because his jaw is all scratched up. So that's Quack Turner, aka Jack Turner, aka Jiggly Butt, that I once sung to him while he was trying to be really mean to me opposite me in a ring, and it made him laugh, and then he got really angry and then landed on my head. Yeah, so sorry. With regard to Saturday, this is definitely more Ace Matthews versus Rory, and then me just being the pretty lady on this. I might as well be the equivalent of a Trish Stratus, a Lita, a Kat, a China. Can't remember any of the girls from current wrestling. I'll be a managerial role, shall we say, as far as I can see, because it's not a 2-on-1. But if there's no DQ, then surely, in Spice Girls terms, the two become one. And then that sounded very suggestive. I apologize, or looked even. It could be a 2-for-1. So at this point, Ace Matthews could arrive on his own. But what happens if Ace wins? Does that technically mean I win, and then that's my win? Or is it Ace's win because we are a team, we are a cohesive unit, we're gelled? Or does Rory batter Ace and batter me? The only way to find out is head to Millthorpe School in York on Saturday and watch True Grit Wrestling live. Wow, that was my promoter's tone. That was awful.
Jim, back to you.
Well, I was going to see if we could get any more gossip on that match, but we won't do that. You've mentioned video games and gaming and Twitch and things like that. So
yeah,
you do run a Twitch channel. Are you a big gamer? What games are you playing at the moment?
I'm a huge gamer. I believe that having a personal interest and hobby outside of work, or any work in any form, having your own personal interest and hobby is a great thing to have, whether it be collecting bottles of Prime, playing games, stamps, models, building Gundams. And if you have a personal interest that you love and enjoy doing the most, do it, because that's what makes you happy. You put on earth, you work for your money. Some of your money gets taken back taxman, and then you can't spend all that money because taxman's got it. So your time, that's your time to do, enjoy your favorite thing that you like doing most. So I applaud anybody and everybody that has a thing that's their special thing that they want to do. I have no rules to what it is that person does. Unless you're me, because I've got controllers of my favorite formats that have been decabled. There's some 64 controllers on the wall. I have some NES zappers and a Super Scope wall mounted. So if the zombie apocalypse happens, kick the door open, point one of them at it, pow pow. In my mind, I've blown the reds off. In reality, I've been eaten. But for gaming, for me, I unfortunately sit under the realm of, this is shiny. I've just taken out its wrapper. Play it for 10 minutes and I'll go in cupboard. 3 months later, I remember playing this. I'll put it back in. And then I don't remember where I was in this game. It's too confusing. I'll take it out and play the other game I was playing. I'm a very big fan of stop-start gaming, which shouldn't be the case. But currently, I finished Final Fantasy Remake. Really enjoyed that. I was late to finishing it because obviously I knew Rebirth was coming. I have Rebirth. I haven't installed it. I have Crisis. Is Crisis Core the little mini one that was out for like 20 to 40 hours of gameplay in it that I need to play before I play Rebirth? And I'm like, oh, but I need to make time for that. But 2K24 is now here, but also Helldivers. But while we're on the subject of Helldivers, there's another game that I bought that's under there. So I want to play that Robocop. That took some time in my life. I'll never get back. Don't stream Alien something or other where if you make noise, the baddies can see you, because I found out that your viewers will just redeem really loud noises and then you get shot and die. So and that's been a learning curve. But yeah, so like, I'm a huge Nintendo fan. I was a big Nintendo boy growing up, so I have a huge love for anything Nintendo do. To the point where there's Pokemon all over this room. My chain is a Charizard chain, not a Logan Paul style. Mine's better. Mine's a cast of a Burger King card from 1995, not a card slapped in diamonds and plastic. Yeah, God of War was a fantastic event. I streamed God of War Ragnarok DLC, and the lovely moment where Kratos looks at himself young on screen and nobody redeemed anything stupid. So it's quite a nice moment for me to just sit and watch that, because I'd grown up with the franchise and saw him as a ragey beast into an old man with a beard and just aging and just being a dad. So that was a very touching moment to share with people that are spending their time watching you play games at the same time. So it is like a nice little safe space, because the people that are watching you have interests in games at the same time. Unless they watch me fail, and I played Fortnite last night because I thought, why not? And I got shot several times, to be greeted by lots of fart noises and fail noises and people redeeming clips, abusing me in a nice, polite manner. I was like, my cadets, as I occasionally refer to them, are brilliant. So my personal time doing a stream, just twice a week, nothing massive, but those few hours, I find out how their weeks are, and then we have a giggle with them that can throw stuff at me. So it's nice. It's like you can see me at a show, but you only see me between my music, or if you see me after the show and I'm putting the ring away. Whereas in here, you can talk to me, and we can chat and have a laugh, and there's different stuff. Unless you redeem 90-second music videos and get me DMCA'd, and then I have to send a lawyer out your house to rearrange your windows. It's yeah, it's good. So games wise, I can't put a finger on the pulse of it, but there is so many. Oh, like cause obviously Tekken 8 comes out, but then you get beaten up a few times, you no longer want to play Tekken 8. Street Fighter, do you remember that? That came out, Street Fighter 6. I can't remember where I put that. So it's odd, like you can't see on camera, but there's a cabinet here and it's got all the consoles in it. So if I want to go retro, where in my eyes it's PS2, still brand new, that can play stuff like that. And obviously the Switch, me and my daughter enjoy playing Mario Kart. I take great pleasure in thrashing her, because I believe that if you can't win and you're a sore loser, you need to adjust your life. Your mental state needs correcting. To which then he goes and tells her mum, and then I get stared at and I have to apologise and then put on automatic lane discipline and auto accelerate. And I'm like, come on, you're 12. Surely you can hold the bone.
That's brilliant. So what was the question I Wilburn asked you?
Right, so it should still be in my files. This was within regard to cooking, and it was on my podcast. I'm not going to spam load of advertisements for it, but on my podcast, I did short little silly things, and I asked for some questions, and I got one in, and he asked me about the recipe for how to make a good quality Yorkshire pudding. And let me tell you that I invested time and effort in recording me making the greatest Yorkshire pudding known to man. So it will come out, as well as the quiz game that I also did. I just mustache things to do. Things get how to describe me. I'm like a magpie. If something shines, I'm going to go investigate, and then I'll forget about the other shiny thing, because another shiny thing will start, and then the process repeats. which is probably equal to some of my matches where I look at somebody in the eyes and go, he's seen something shiny and he's now forgot what he's going to do. That's the reality of me. So yes, I will inform you, Wilburn. I will burn. I'll inform you of the perfect Yorkshire pudding, sir. I haven't forgot about you. I see your face on my Mac, and I know when I see you in the file explorer, I'm like, he's going to love that. I just need to push publish and job's done.
Oh dear. Jim, back to you.
You've talked about having sort of different personas, like you've got Wing Commander Nash, you've got Miles's dad. Is it ever difficult to sort of balance that out and think, right, I'm wrestling for this promotion, so I've got to be in this mode?
Yeah, post-COVID, I completely forgot how to be Miles's dad for Rise, and that had a knock-on effect for me versus Gene Money because I hadn't been to the gym because gyms weren't open. It's all the excuses in the world. It just wasn't. I didn't feel it at all. There was a wonderful video from Liam Slater who done like a behind-the-scenes vlog, and there was just me in the corner just before my match, and you could see that I was literally trying to inhale air and breathe out good luck from my butthole. So that was nice. But there was one. There was a in Hull. I had to be. I worked for the RSPCA. Now the story was Rory Coyle wanted to fight with fight a bear, and he couldn't fight the bear because the bear's friend wanted to fight him instead. And I was called in as the RSPCA. My name was Richard Splash, so you can see where this is going already. And Richard Splash was South African. I decided to be South African. I had the South African accent down for about 7 seconds. 4 of those were leaving the doors to enter the crowd. The accent went up and down, left, right, almost had it, went slightly Australian. I looked Rory dead in the eye and then went full Irish and then got DDT'd faster than I've ever been DDT'd in my life. So losing it can happen. I went from having Dick Splash chanted to me to being drilled into the floor and taking a DDT with just my neck alone. The video is out there somewhere. In fact, I believe it's on my Mac computer because I got home and my wife was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think I am. I'll just show you this." And she was like, "You're quite sorry." I flared up. It was my own thing because just nerves. Wrestleverse, I believe it was. And everything was in a different dimension. So that's why I was Richard Splash from the Irish. Richard Splash, the protector and carer of animals. There we are. And yeah, my accent just went like somebody Google Translate and didn't quite know which line subject to put. And oh god, yeah, like I laughed at the same time as telling Rory I had no idea what's going on with my accent, and then DDT'd. So maybe I might yell at him again on Saturday and then blame the Wrestleverse for that happening. Who knows? Anything could be possible. Is it Wrestle? I'm sure it was Wrestleverse. Good laugh, good times. Also terrifying.
So one final question for me. Obviously, got time for a couple more. What's the goals, obviously, for you now? Obviously, for the rest of the year, what would you like to achieve in wrestling? Obviously, apart from the winning True Grit, we know that
one. Improve me physically. Be far more improved than I've ever been. Just because the older I'm getting, the harder things are to maintain and do. So a more fitter and just feel like I belong to be in a ring, not just as a character, but be able to wrestle with more flair, if that makes sense. So physical for me, just being in far better shape. And I would love to do an 8x10 where I've got no t-shirt on and I just look like somebody wants to slide in my DMs and tell me how attractive I look. Fun fact, I have a message from a chap, I won't mention his name, but it's really, really old. And he says he finds me outrageously sexy. And I've never deleted it because if I'm ever feeling down, I'll just look at that and go, it's been 6 years, but I wonder if he still feels this way. So yeah, physical, to look like a physical specimen. Other goals. I'm more than happy to work at other companies and be wing commander on there. Miles's dad's like official Rise's own product. Nash Boat is property of True Grit, I believe. So don't think you'll be seeing us as a tag team under Nash, but elsewhere. But yeah, I suppose it doesn't hurt to be on other shows to get more eyes on you. Yeah, I just more of the same from me. Bring stupidity, have fun, make a child's dad laugh and go, hey mate, I don't like wrestling, but I proper love you. Let me buy you a pint, and I have to politely decline. It's just yes, more of the same from me. I do limited dates from my good self, but just enjoy them as they are, and just have more fun in wrestling and just enjoy what it is. Like at some point, I won't be able to do this, and as soon as my knees go, what you doing? That'll be the point, and then I'll be streaming 6 days a week.
Jim, we've got time for one final question, mate.
Yeah, well, if it's final question, then can we take it right back to the start? So you're talking there about, you know, when the knees have gone,
Right,
that's when it ends.
Get me counselling position. Right, go for it.
But like when you do those aptitude tests at school and they tell you what career you're going to have, I don't think professional wrestler ever tends to come up on them. So how does that happen? When does that idea come into your head that I'm going to be a professional wrestler?
Okay. Fun fact: when I took that test at school, it said I was either going to be a stuntman or a bin man. So there's half of it. I was like, cool, stuntman. I was like, ooh, a bin man. The honest part of it, when my daughter was born, my wife said to me, she went, do you want to take up a hobby rather than just working and then coming home and newborn and stuff like that? I was like, are you sure? She was like, yeah, go for it. And obviously I made a point of watching Raw and SmackDown way before NXT arrived. And she knew I was interested in it. We'd have WrestleMania parties at the house and stuff. And yeah, as my daughter was born, she went, do you want to try it? And then that's when I decided. I think I bounced around the country quite a bit with growing up. And living in different locations, and I wasn't really interested in anything else. It was either about work or just being selfish and drinking till all hours and everything else, just being the opposite side of where I wanted to be in reality of it all. So when she says you want to take a hobby of some kind or go do something and just like do a class, I dialed it up and it went a bit intense because I started at one wrestling school and enjoyed it. And then before you know it, doing it 3 times a week there. Then I was going to another couple of schools. And then it all fell in and things were starting to feel nice as a new person in British wrestling. And I'll never forget coming home and all the lights being off. And I just traveled back from Preston, from PCW school. And walked into the lounge, turned the light on, and my wife was sat in a chair. And I was like, oh my God. And she was like, we need to talk because you're literally away all weekend and you're training most times, and the hobby had basically escalated and gone over. So I'd gone from doing nothing to then diving in really deep, but then not having much to show from all the time away and travel and stuff. So it got dialed back, and then that's where we found the happy medium that when I get a booking, it goes into the calendar, obviously, and then the calendar is then we look at it and go, no, because we're here doing this. Yes, no, and we all agree. So the house calendar knows where we all are at the same time. So that's why I not in a cocky way because I can't be that way, but the pick and choose begins because I can't promise too far ahead because schools like to have 6 weeks off and then more weeks and additional weeks and times that will be covered for that. So we try to find a happy balance of it all to make it all sit and relax. But yeah, it all literally started. Go find something for yourself to do that's not working all the time and being a parent and placing leads in a cage fighting school, and the rest is history. It's all erased, and only remember anything occasionally when you bump your head and forget.
This is brilliant. This has been a really, really fun chat. One final thing from you, Wing. Is there anything you'd like to plug, my friend, before we head off?
Yeah, there was a spider on my floor then for a minute. Oh no, it's not. It's probably just my eyes. Mustache things to do. Apparently, is a website, but it's just Wing Commander Nash. Whatever you search me on, you'll find me. It'll either be great or it'll be rubbish. There's not many Wing Commander Nashes. There's either me or you'll get actual Kevin Nash. I don't know how we get that correlation because we're not the same person. I've still got 2 very good working quads. But yeah, honestly, thank you for having me on the show. I've enjoyed myself. Sorry for tangenting off. I'm a bit of a naughty one like that. But no, it's been great. Just, yeah, I have a sign behind me because I'm selfish. Look, there it is. I'm available on Wednesdays and Sundays on Twitch. Yeah, no, it's just been nice to talk to new faces. I say that. I'm looking at a camera there, but you guys are up there. so it looks weird. And then I've got a light here. But Jimmy, I'm glad that somebody sold you to me, sir. And I'm glad you've had the chance to chat with me and ask me questions and not peel back the curtain too much, because wrestling's proper real as you've ever seen. You don't look too sure. I think
dear. Of course, the magic of wrestling is back this Saturday as we're taking a little deep dive into the backstage thing in AEW. It's got a lot to discuss with that. So that's obviously it's this Saturday at 6:30 p.m., 1:30 Eastern. Wing, thank you so much for obviously taking the time to talk to us. Jim, hope you've had a blast.
Yeah, it's been good, man.
Brilliant.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.